All right, here we go.
Wait a minute, is it starting?
Yeah, we're going to start right now.
We need a theme song.
Jay usually puts a little something on there as far as at the beginning. But this is our fifth time getting together. We're going to call this episode 4. We had episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, then episode 3.5. We're going to call this episode 4, but this is kind of a continuation of our second.
I'm glad he explained that.
Second one.
I didn't know there was going to be math.
Well,
We're all
I'm going to turn my phone back on.
What's it, 3.5?
as you can tell, we've already had a little conversations already started here pretty good. This group's rowdy and ready to go, but I'd like to invite Slab and Kasey Branham back. We said we need to do Christian Part 2. I think we're going to label this one Christian Part 2 / Gannon.
Ooh, I like it.
You like that?
Yeah. I think Gannon has touched everybody. We've talked about it out there a little bit. So
Got my buddy right there, Bobby Jones, back.
Again, Mr. McMahon.
here's Bobby.
And then we brought in Mr. Mark Hubbard. I know we've talked a lot about him in the last few episodes, but
Lies.
we brought him in just to be able to talk to him, and I don't think we're going to have any kind of problem whatsoever talking about anything today. I think we've all got good stories, and I know we've all been really good friends all through the years, and definitely feel it was good that we got back together to kind of finish some of the conversations and some of the stories from our second episode. But I'm going to get things rolling, if it's okay. I'm going to go ahead and tell Mark Hubbard's story. And I'm going to tell one that we didn't even talk about earlier out there. I'm 15 years old, and bases are loaded. We're playing the Expos. Hubbard's on the hill. And like I said, bases are loaded. And I'm in the 4-hole for some reason. Dad usually had me up in the 2 and 3, but I'm in the 4. Joe Jones is at third.
Joe Jones was fast.
Yes, he was. Rick Weaver is on second, and Big Bob, is on first. And I'm just licking my chops. I mean, me and Hubbard that year, we were 15, but we had both played varsity baseball that year. And Hubbard's on the hill, but Hubbard wasn't known for pitching, but, you know, he had to help the Expos out. And I'm just licking my chops like, Hubbard, we got you. This is it. Expos are going down. And I get up to the plate, and all of a sudden there's 3 outs, and I've not seen a pitch. Not one pitch. And I'm looking, and I'm just like in disbelief. Hubbard picks out Joe Jones on third, not paying attention. Rick then tries to steal third the next, as Mark still hasn't thrown a pitch, and Mark gets him. Now, I don't know why, so now Bob McKenzie's going to try to steal. And he picks off McKenzie. Hubbard walks off the field and just glares at me the whole time. Ha, ha, ha. You remember that?
I remember it. I don't know if that says too much about my pitching because I think I walked the
till
bases
this
loaded.
day, I'm still mad about that.
Been playing scores with him.
We never really got to how the bases got loaded.
I think I walked them loaded. I don't think I threw a strike, but I had a good pickoff mood.
But yeah, I mean,
that's great.
and the Expos end up winning it again that year, but I'm like, you know, the Reds, I played 13, 14, 15, obviously. Second place 3 years in a row. Never won the championship as junior seniors. Second place every year.
Well, if Ronnie Creek were to learn how the take sign.
That's true. That's true.
The hat. The bill of the hat.
Everybody knew the take sign, so the pitchers knew to throw a fastball. They're taking.
It's better than finishing last every year.
This is true. Well, at least today, do you feel like Hubbard's holding you back today?
Oh, no. Gannon's not here. If Gannon was here, I would probably be over in the corner with no mic. But Gannon's not here, unfortunately, and so I get my chance.
Well, it's just when we played slow pitch softball a couple years ago. I mean, we got that team together. The first game, Gannon wasn't there. Slab hit a home run. Gannon wasn't there to hold him back.
I do remember that.
Gannon wasn't there to hold him back anymore.
I do. I went.
There's no.
That was
I couldn't believe that.
over on Sherman.
Yeah.
Yep. I was there. God, I've got to witness some of your greatest athletic achievements.
Yeah, whatever.
Wow.
But his biggest critic never did.
Gannon's never, or he would deny it. I mean, I had the greatest move in the world, make a shot. Gannon take me out because he didn't want me to outscore Hubbard.
Slab, my brother wanted me to make sure that you told the Taco Bell story.
Okay, that's what I was going to bring up. Off your guys' Bobby's and Boyd's and them 3 and 3.5 episodes, there's a lot of stuff I said, oh, I wish I was there, because we went right into it. As we all know, except for him, he's a tech boy, us How boys, Gringos was our hangout, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I got 2 Gringo stories, and one day it was me and Hubbard, Rick Weaver, little brother, Marky, and I still think, was it Steve Weaver or Gillespie?
I think it was Gillespie.
And we were all sitting outside summer, and we said, wonder if that bell, across the street was Taco Bell, and that's where Cecina hung out. We go, wonder if that bell's real. So we all went around there, and Hubbard lifted, like, pushed Rick up on the top, and Rick just got up there and he came flying back down. It's plastic. It's plastic. So, okay, let's get that thing. So we went back and did all this planning. We got hacksaws. We got some Radio Shack walkie-talkies. I think we all put on blue hoodies and brown jersey gloves.
Eye
Gloves.
black and stuff.
I went and got my dad's pickup truck. So we planned this thing.
So they've dragged your dad into
Yeah,
this
so we,
situation.
so we knew it was like,
His dad was working for the sheriff's
yeah,
department.
yeah. So we knew it was like they closed at like 1. So we said, okay, everybody called up. I'm staying on this person's house. I'm staying on this person's house, so we can all stay out all night without getting parents not knowing anything. But
Okay, real quick, go back over all the players that are in this
it
again.
was me and Mark, Rick Weaver, Rob Gillespie, and Mark Haney. I think Mark was like in 8th grade. Rob's a freshman. I mean, we get these guys. Every one of us went to juvenile. We got caught. So we get there and we plan up there and we got this all game plan. Rick and did you go up in the building too?
I went because I had the hacksaw.
You had the hacksaw. That's why he says he had the hacksaw.
Allegedly.
He went up, allegedly had the hacksaw. And Rick went up there. So the plan was they were going to cut it down. Rick was going to cut it. And they were going to throw it down to me.
He had a lookout. Mark said he was the
We gave
lookout.
Mark a walkie-talkie, and we stuck him out in some bushes, like at 10th and Arlington out there, so he could see the whole Arlington Avenue, the whole intersection, or 16th and Arlington, and
Well, we called it the Brady Bunch case.
yeah, the Brady Bunch caper. We named it the Brady Bunch caper, and we had Rob Gillespie at the other end with the walkie-talkie. So he relayed to me that if the cops are coming, all of a sudden, finally they leave at 2 in the morning, the workers. So we scurry out there, and we're laying there. Mark and him get on top. You can hear him cutting. All of a sudden, you hear, got a car coming. Everybody just lay down where they were at. Drive by. Clear. We'd all be yelling back and forth. Well, they cut that thing down. Threw it down to me. We threw it back to pickup truck. We went back to Weaver's. Stole the bell off Taco Bell.
I remember that. I walked in,
So
I looked
where
at it,
did-
and I go, what is that? And they said, that's the Taco Bell.
Where was it stored at?
At the Weaver's house.
At the Weaver's house?
And we'd have all them parties every week at the Weaver's. So we'd have like Taco Bell parties.
Yeah.
And then we'd have like we called it Mexican night or taco drinking night, because you remember Gringos, they used to have them candles. It had like the
Yeah.
little fishnet things around them.
Yeah.
Well, we'd steal them off the tables and take them back to Weaver's, turn all the lights off, have like 20 of these candles going with the bell, and have a raging party.
Yeah.
We called
Well, I
it-
remember all that stuff. I don't remember how it got there, though. That's pretty weird.
yeah,
It's pretty great, actually, because I remember the little candles, all the lights being off, the TV being on, and,
But
you know,
I just
but
remember
how
Mark,
that
I just
all...
remember Marky. Yeah,
So-
got a car, and everybody would just lay down wherever they were at.
I don't know how we didn't get caught, because we had that hacksaw and the bell was connected by a metal rod that went through it to the stone, and it was all rusted. So we're up with a hacksaw like at 2 o'clock in the morning, and the
I know it was a
noise
late
this
caper.
thing
It was a late one.
I was like, how did that not just wake up the whole neighborhood?
But the best thing about that bell was stolen 2 more times after that.
Really?
We started the
So
trend.
you guys took it back?
No. No, not that same bell, but
so
they
somebody stole it
replaced
from
it.
the Wee-
It
oh,
became
okay.
like everybody found out it was us, so
Yeah.
it became like a
thing to do.
younger group to do it for 2 more years.
Well, you
Hey,
remember
you're a legend
a
again.
couple years ago, I'm working, and I'm out in my car, and I see these workers at the Taco Bell. They're putting up a new sign, but they put up signs now. It's not the bell, but it's got the bell on it. So I pull over and stop, and I said, I'm full uniform. I said, hey, guys, can I take a picture of this? And they go, is there a problem, officer? I go, no. I said, about 30 years ago or 40 years ago, me and my friends may or may not stole one of these bells. And I want to send this picture to a friend of mine, and I sent it to Slab. I go, you ready for a caper too? And he goes, I'm down.
I'm dead. But my other Gringo story, of course, involved Kasey. I personally don't remember doing this, but
Now, I never knew Casey worked at Gringos.
Yeah, I don't remember that either.
I showed up.
I'll let Kasey tell
That's
this.
where the cooking began?
I guess
I didn't
that's
follow
where-
my career from chicken in, but I love it. You did.
That's where it
He
all
never
started.
gave us no free CCQs.
Yeah, I
and
never.
nothing?
No.
And back then, Kasey, like I said, it was like an older brother. I mean, he's a year older than me, but it was like, you know how brothers are. You know, they pick at each other and do things stupid. You know, like go by and flip your hat off, but never was like a bully or nothing. It was just,
Right.
You know how we all are. Well, this is my chance to get Kasey, because he all the shit he did to me and stuff. I got 10 stories, but tell me what I did to Gringos. I don't remember doing this, but he'll
It
tell
was probably a Friday or Saturday night. I seemed to always have to work during the football or basketball games I couldn't go to, but then afterwards, everybody comes and hang outs there. So let's make Kasey work. Let's be a little mean to him or whatever. So Slab starts taking the shredded lettuce and throwing it all over the floor.
So I knew he had a
Nice.
clean.
So I gotta sweep up and
I
clean it
like
and mop,
that.
and I'm like, oh, geez.
Nice work.
I only worked there for about.
So did
3
you
or 4
see him
months.
doing this, or
No, I found out after the fact. I
Afterward.
think Bandy told me it was him.
I was just dumping all my trash all over the floor, man, because I knew he had a sweep.
But it took me a while to think, okay, who is in here tonight? Okay, all the Howe people. Why is it dirtier than normal? All the Howe people are, getting back at me, making me have, who's making earn his money? So,
You know,
yeah?
we labeled this one the Christian Park 2 / Gannon. And I was just sitting there thinking, there's probably not another 3 guys I can think of that were probably as close to John as you 3. And it just hit me. I know that all of us had a great relationship with him, including myself, especially as he got older. But you 3 guys, me looking back, Mark, hell, you ran around with him.
Well, he was the best man at my wedding.
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
God, he was a major influence on my life.
Well, I want to say one thing about John right off the bat, and I don't know if he's completely responsible for this, but when I saw you guys on one of the other shows, the thing that just kind of struck me was all of us were so competitive.
Oh,
I mean, it was just, and that's one thing your dad, Bobby, instilled in us, and I know John did, that it wasn't all about winning, but we cared so much about playing and competing and being at our best. And every single one of us, I know Slab and I were competitive about everything. We played every sports board game that was ever invented and probably made up a few of our own. And we hated losing to each other.
We get mad and one of us would leave.
Oh yeah, we'd go home, and then when we back the next day, we'd be doing the same thing. But John made, when he coached me at least, and you guys probably feel the same way. And it was the same thing with your dad, Bobby, is that they made us care about competing. They really did, and I think that, I know for me, it lasted my entire life, and it's something I passed on when I passed on down to the kids that I was coaching when I was coaching my grandson about wanting to compete. And in today's environment, everything's all right, Johnny, don't worry about it, you did your best. That didn't fly with me. It was like, no, we are going to compete. If we win or we lose, it doesn't matter, but we're going to give it, and we're going to care.
right.
And that's something I really think John passed on to all of us.
Yeah. Looking back at John, and I know all you guys are going to back me up on this and say, yeah, you're right. Even as you got older about John, if you knew he was going to be where you're going, wherever that may be, to the ballpark, to a party, Metro, if you knew John was going to be there, it lit you up in a good way. You was like, man, this is going to be fun. John's going to be there.
And the stories will be flowing.
The stories are going to be flowing, and it was something about when you was around John, everything was good.
Well, John had a really good knack for introducing people
Yeah.
without really introducing them. By telling a story about Mark, if I'd never met Mark, by the time Gannon was done, I knew Mark to some extent, and then we'd kind of carry that on and be a friend, or, hey, I'm Doug, he's Mark,
Absolutely.
whatever, you know what I mean? But Gannon had a way of doing that. So when you showed up, you were instantly
And
part of the...
he knew everybody.
He did.
He just seemed like he
Yes.
knew everybody.
Yeah.
It was,
We would play softball there early Thursday mornings at Metro, and I'd get there, and I had my little Cup Foods team, and out there, Scott, the COs would be there, and we had different teams there, but he'd get on the mic in the morning, start messing with people. Hey, what's up? You know, just so I get up to bat and I had a pop up. He goes, there's popcorn. He goes, Haney, the only guy I know, got to visit 13 different little leagues on opening day. I mean, he just constantly was dogging you.
Tell them what that meant. People don't know what it meant by 13 different.
Well, why don't you go ahead and let them know?
No, I mean, I'm only even like.
Well, I had a kid when I was in high school, so he just, then I had another one right out. So,
How about them coats?
but John was, I never looked at it bad. I mean, John just was always cracking on you and always saying things, and you'd be like,
Oh, yeah.
man, he needs to leave me alone,
Well,
or he needs.
his nephew, I think it is, Phil,
Yeah.
that played at Christian Park,
AKA Opie.
worked with me for years. And me and Phil, when I got into management, he was in engineering. He was head of engineering. And we'd pass good ideals back and forth together for a long time, right? One day I'm at my desk, sitting there, and he walks up behind me. He says, Ron Colley. And I said, Ron Colley? I said, man, John Gannon named me Ron Colley because like the best game I ever had playing CYO basketball was at Ron Colley. So he always called me Ron Colley.
I remember that.
So I look back, and it's Phil. And I said, John Gannon is the only guy that's ever called me Ron Colley. How do you know John Gannon? I'm his nephew. I said, it was weird that we had worked together for a couple years.
Now, is
and
that the
never-
one that hit all the home runs down there?
Yeah, he said he was a heck of a hitter.
I
He
think
told
Phillip
me
was
that
that
he
one,
flat
yeah.
jacked
It was
a bunch
Phillip.
of home runs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I seen him hit one.
Philip always remind me. I nicknamed him Opie and his brother Eddie for Eddie Munster because he had that black hair. So Eddie and Opie. That's what I always called him.
I was at Metro one time, and we got into it with the COs. And one of my buddies' girlfriends took up for him and dropped a baby to take up for him. So I go into a complete dive, catch this baby. Gannon comes walking by me as I'm holding this baby. I'm looking up, and Gannon goes, "It's the best catch you ever made in your life."
I remember that.
True.
Thursday
That
morning.
actually would be true.
And he kept walking.
Right. Yeah, but you got to remember, Gannon was, I think he was 8 years older than me and you.
Yeah, something like that,
And
yeah.
Kasey probably knew him since he was like 6 because his older brothers. So he coached us. So here's an 18, 19-year-old. I mean, I guess he's considered a man, but today's standards still a kid. And we're like 10-year-olds. So he's like an older brother.
Yeah.
And I remember we're playing on 6th grade CYO baseball, and we were like division champs. We were pretty good. Had me, Mark, Ronnie Crease, who else? Slaughter, Robbie Fields, real good, all Christian Park guys. And we were goofing off in practice, and Ronnie Crease started this chant, and it went GANNON. SUCKS, Gannon sucks.
Like
We're all-
Mickey Mouse.
We're all singing it, Gannon sucks. The coach, he's the
True
coach.
story.
Right.
Yes.
So Gannon's not in the best mood today. He usually,
He lost at the track.
He usually, he lost at the track, or any other day he'd just punch you in the arm and tell you to go on, like an older brother would, get you in a headlock and give you a noogie or something. Well, he goes, start running. I forget how many laps or till I get tired. Well, Mark goes, I ain't running. I'm tired. I'm not running. We've been there all day. It's been a long bat. It was just one in practice. Nothing was going right. So Mark starts walking off, and Gannon, and Gannon, like you said, was close to Mark. He coached him on the Braves and everything else, and close to the family. He goes, if you don't come back here and run, you're off the team. And Mark just kept walking, left practice. We're like, oh crap, he's kicking Hubbard off the team. So we all start running. So we ran for 15, 20 minutes doing them laps.
You ran Mark's laps, didn't
Yeah,
you?
Right.
we had to
We
run
need
everything.
him.
So
Thank you, guys. I appreciate
we're like, well, we said Hubbard's off the team. Shit,
I might get the score now.
Yeah, we might. I'm gonna get my shot. I'm gonna get my shot.
I'm gonna play shortstop because I can play shortstop
I'm
now.
gonna get my shot.
Slab was running harder than
So
anybody.
Burnett baseball field, where I lived at. I mean, I could throw a baseball from my backyard into Burnett's baseball field.
Barely.
I don't know about your backyard.
Yeah, I could make it out.
Maybe your
Just
front
across-
yard
just
off the
across-
corner over
Yeah.
there.
Well, anyway.
He needed a
we're all
cutoff.
everybody's there getting dropped off, and we had like a game there that day at the field. And Gannon always had these old beater cars, and when you hear them, you knew it. 'Cause
I'll
you-
never pay more than $500 for any car. That's what
So what
he's
he
And
always
it sounded like it.
no muffler, and all of a sudden he comes flying around in the parking lot, and skid marks. You hear it coming, pulls up. Gannon jumps up, and Hubbard gets out in uniform, and we're all sitting there, and like still tired from the day before. And we go, "What are you doing here, Mark?" I thought you were off the team. And he goes, oh, Gannon came by the house last night and said he was sorry for yelling at me.
Yeah.
And we all looked at Gannon. He goes, Gannon looks right. He goes, you guys want to win, don't you? I'm like, oh, everybody's like, you suck, Gannon. We're a bunch of 10-year-olds, like,
Right.
6th graders just yelling at Gannon and stuff. You want to win, don't you?
So did your grandma and grandpa and everybody go back home because you weren't going to play that day?
Yeah. I got put back. I didn't get my shot at shortstop. I had to go back over there. But it was just so funny. You want to win, don't you?
Right.
I've got a real good Gannon one. Once we all graduated, this is probably late 80s. You know, we're already, some of us married, having families and stuff, and actually it's early 90s. I'm down at ISSA, the basketball place down in Southport, and my son's playing in this little basketball league. And who's there? I haven't seen him for years. John Gannon. He's refereeing the game. When he found, we talked, for the game, and hey, how you doing? Yeah, it's my son over here. I couldn't tell you how many, and my son was really small at the time. He's smaller than everybody else, but my son was playing guard. Every time he'd bring the ball down and somebody come close, John's calling a penalty, a foul on the other team, so my son could go up to the line. Well, the whole time he's talking to my son from the foul till my son goes to the line, telling him just stories about me when I was a kid.
I can see
stuff.
that.
So my son, who only averaged 2 or 3 points a game, had like 14 points that game, all on free throws, I think. And so, but afterwards, after the game, I tell John bye and everything. As soon as we go home, when I'm driving home, my son goes, Dad, did you really throw a ball over the fence? Dad? And I'm like, no. Dad, did you really beat up Bob McKenzie? No. Dad, did you hit a home run off Kyle Madden? Yes, son, that's true. The whole time, John's telling me my whole childhood.
Well, that's the thing. That's why nobody saw Kasey after he got married and started having kids, because he didn't want his son to hear the stories about his dad.
stories.
Like I said, there's a Kasey and an old Kasey. You got 2 different versions of Kasey, and his son only knows the new Kasey.
Oh, no, he knows them all now because
Oh
of
yeah,
you.
You really want to know about your dad. Let me tell you about your dad.
Yeah. Scott's told him everything.
John really had a good relationship with Kyle, too.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
All 3 of you guys and Kyle, I would say they're probably his picks.
I still have voicemails that I have not erased on my phone from John shortly before he passed away.
Yeah, I did. I loved when John ever called you knew it was him. John. It's John Gannon, Mark. Yeah, John, I figured that out.
I remember my junior year, I hit a home run on Kyle.
Kyle says he hit your bat.
And that's exactly what I was getting ready to say. I don't more get to first, and he's right there pointing at me, going, "I hit your bat, and you know I hit your bat. I hit your bat." I'm trotting around and smiling, looking at he's all the way around. I hit your bat.
Till this day, then whenever they run into each other, that's the first thing Kyle says to Bobby, "I hit your bat, don't open your
Well,
mouth."
even at John's wake, when we all got together, that's the first thing they looked at. Hey, I hit your bat, you know it.
Well, we went I took my son to the Jeff Fosnot golf tournament, and I found John told me Kyle was going to be there. I hadn't seen Kyle in 15 years, and I told my son, I said, you watch this. The first thing he's going to say is it was a foul ball. We go up, we don't even shake hands for you. Hey, Brandon, it was a foul ball. Very first thing. And I, jeez, this kid.
Well, that's just the way, Kyle was just always like that, man.
Well, Kyle and I, that big league team we played in that World Series. I know what Kasey's going to say. Well, I went with you too, Mark.
The next year,
and I always tell Kasey, well, Kyle and I were actually on a good team. But Kyle, we bunked together. It was parents up there in South Bend would put you up,
Right.
And we bunked together, and we were with this real super religious family, which didn't go well with our East Side bringing up, although Kyle could manage it because of his dad. And the dad was the groundskeeper at Notre Dame at the football stadium. And they took us to Notre Dame to the football stadium. We got to stand out on the field. It was just us. And go in the locker room. And, that was just one of the coolest moments Kyle and I ever had together. We remember every time we see each other, that's all we talk about is that. And Kasey always goes, "You don't remember me? You don't remember me, bro?"
Well, we had different fun on the way home from South Bend, if you remember.
We
Pat
did.
O'Malley's van.
We had a different journey, yes.
Yeah, that big league team that we played on when you was 16, played on a lot of teams in my life, throughout my whole life. Softball, baseball, basketball, football, whatever. I have to say that was probably the best team I ever played on in my life.
That team was loaded. You know what really killed us about that year was that John couldn't coach what was going to be the all-star team to go up to South Bend.
Yeah,
and we only had 2 guys on our team that went like 23-1.
Yeah.
and we only had 2 guys get to go, and it should have been our whole team.
Yeah.
You
I
know, my
remember that.
dad was technically the head coach because Gannon said he didn't want to be the head coach for some reason. But Gannon
He had
did
a-
everything.
Probably had a warrant out or
Yeah.
something.
But my dad said, if Gannon's not going, I'm not going to do it. That's why, only 2 guys got screwed. I mean,
That was terrible.
the
I
whole
mean,
team got screwed on
I
that
mean,
one.
all those Indiana Central guys went because that's who coached it.
Yep.
And it should have been like 9 or 10 guys off our team that went. That's
Yeah,
how good
basically our
that
whole
team was.
starting lineup.
I mean, it was so nice on that team I played in second to have Jerry Suter at first. I'm like, we got 2 second basemen over on this side of the field.
Yeah,
It helped me cover more of the middle.
yeah, that team was loaded. I mean,
Yeah.
everywhere you looked, you just had some unbelievable talent on it. And pitching, my goodness.
You know, no disrespect whatsoever to the 1984 girls. None whatsoever. But John gave the best compliment to me and that team that I ever heard him. I had no idea I even felt that way about this team. And we were sitting there joking around with John like you do with John. And he nudged me, he goes, man, why don't you ever talk about the best team I ever coached? Because I'm really proud of those girls. And I go, your 1984 girls? He goes, no, Bobby. He goes, that was a good team, and I'm thankful for all that. He goes, but your 16-year-old year in that big league team was very special. I said, John, I never realized you really cared about that team like that. And he goes, yeah. He goes, that was a special team. But
And we did have some fun, too. I mean, you know.
that was crazy.
Well, it was
Man.
hard not to have fun around John.
Oh, yeah.
John was,
Well, I'd have to say we were always loose.
and that, yes.
And
I
there was,
can
always,
see
there
that
was always
around
more
John.
fun after the games.
Oh, yeah.
There was.
Boogie Mountain.
Boogie Mountain.
We'd go to Boogie
You know,
Mountain.
you brought that up last time, and I forgot all about that.
Boogie
But
Mountain was
we
a
went
very
there all the
jam up
time,
the
didn't we?
slides.
Yeah,
Yes.
Mark Malott would jam up the slide.
Just because he's Mark Malott.
The park closed at 10 on a Sunday night after playing a doubleheader, being in 100-degree heat all day. And Mark, we knew it was the last time, so we'd all go up there like at 9:58. We knew it was one last slide. Well, Mark get halfway, and he played linebacker in time for St. Joe.
Yeah,
you know,
he's a big boy.
big strong kid, and stop it. And we just pile up. They'd get all mad. They'd turn the water off. We'd all have to walk down the slide. And they would tell us, "You guys are out of here. You don't
We'd
ever
be
come
back
back.
the
We're
next
back
weekend."
next week doing the same thing every week." And that reminded, because we used to, before we go to Blue Mountain, we always go somewhere like Gringos or Pizza Hut. Wasn't there a time there was like a plan that eat and dash, dine and dash, and was you the one that got caught at the
Not
last?
me.
We all walked out one at a time, and the last person, you know, and the last person that's walking out got stopped. We need a bill for your pay while we're all out in the parking lot, and everybody.
I only did that once and got away with it.
And
with
he said,
boys.
"No, I thought it was already paid." So I had to go out there. We all played double. I thought you were paying for it, so we all had to chip in.
I remember
money.
we did that to
What
Doug,
was it,
my brother
flip-flops?
Doug, you and I did. Remember we ran out and he was left paying the bill. Pizza. Doug, you know how Doug was. He was all embarrassed. He got all mad because he was really straight.
You know, I see a theme here. The 2 guys that did the most law breaking are the
Are now the officers, right?
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
We never did. I mean,
You know, another good coach over I really liked. I didn't get to spend time with him I don't think as much as you guys did, but I like Fred Kane.
Oh, Fred, absolutely.
Well, Fred,
Was he the Expos coach?
I mean,
seniors.
and that goes back to being competitive. I mean, Fred did how many years in Vietnam, then came
Right.
and coached me and Mike McCarty. And to be around that at 13 and 14 and 15 years old, man, you're talking about grooming you to be competitive. I mean, Fred didn't say a lot, but when he said something, it kind of scared the shit out of you because, you know, you didn't know if he was having flashbacks or what. But he knew his baseball.
He was so
he did.
successful that there was that one year when Rosie Holmes was the president, she didn't want him to coach, if you remember that. And there was a big stink about it, and then he ended up getting to coach, and of course he runs the table on everybody. But yeah, there was a movement at the time.
Man, he was so smart, man. He knew that play. Do you guys remember that play in the All-Star game McCarty made down the third base
Yes,
line?
I do.
fake
Like
throw.
And
the
he
fake
faked
throw.
it.
And he
The
gets
guy
back
was
turned.
on third, and the guy hit a little dribbler towards the line, and McCarty came off the mound and turned to first, full motion, like he's going to throw the guy at first, and then spun around with the ball and had the guy like 5 feet from him and went over and tagged him out. I mean, it was like 14, 15 years old when he did this, and it was like the most amazing thing I'd ever seen for that age. And he just did it pure on instincts. It was just, I mean,
It's
amazing.
something you can't coach.
No.
You can't
It's
teach
just-
it.
it was
You
just-
either got it or you don't.
Yeah, I mean, even to think about that at that, I mean, grown men that don't even think about that.
Right.
When we played that wiffle ball game, I brought that up to him, and he remembered. He goes, "All I could really think about was I wasn't going to throw the guy out at first." He still remembered it.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That wiffle ball game was fun.
Oh, that was crazy. I had so much fun.
For
Me too.
Well, you guys mentioned it about on the wiffle ball game how you guys felt about it and stuff like that, and somebody brought up the word family, and there's
That was Kasey.
You know, there's
No?
family is there's a
Scott.
family, the family you're born into, and then there's your chosen family,
Right.
and this is our chosen family.
right.
Yeah.
And we had so much. It's when we're all together. There's not a moment in time where I don't feel as comfortable as that. Just the guard's down, you feel relaxed. Everybody knows everything about you, and they still love you.
Yep.
That's family.
And they competed with you.
Yeah. Oh, like,
Lost to
oh,
you,
oh, just
beat you, whatever, and they're still
Well,
still
this
family
day.
and
I know you
friends.
bring
Yeah.
up that real competitiveness. I mean, as we get older, we'll talk about who's the best now because we're all more humble. But when I was 12 years old, yeah, he was the star of the league. But in my mind, no, he wasn't. I was,
I don't think
I
at
wanted
that
to beat
time-
him. I
yeah.
mean, I just said, man, I'm just as good as he is. But
Well, E-Step
know,
and I were talking about
there-
that the other day. It's like every time you walked out on the field, you always thought you were the best player on the field.
yeah.
And I think that went for all of us.
You didn't feel, I guess, you didn't feel like a less of anybody. You felt you were just as good as anybody out here.
Yep.
I
Well,
always-
I always competed with
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
Am I, how good am I, and what's it going to take for me to get a little better?
I always
know,
said
and-
Mark was my favorite baseball player besides myself. I even signed his yearbook like that, and he
Yeah.
reciprocated.
Really?
Yeah, because I never really
I
thought about
absolutely did.
anybody
Didn't you
how
just tell
well
me
they
that?
played. I had to take
I
care of
thought I
my
was.
spot. You know what I mean? And but I will say this about Christian Park, especially a guy like me who didn't make the All-Star teams and didn't get to go through some of the things that you guys got to enjoy and be part of, right? But for me, and I would say this to any kid listening, get out and play baseball because you're gonna, no matter what level, you're gonna make friends,
Yeah,
right? You're gonna make memories, right? So the memories I have of competing, if I would have had you guys out roller skating, I could have showed you guys a few things, right? But we were playing baseball, and it's
You
the
didn't
beauty
do bad.
of, no,
It was pretty good.
I enjoyed baseball,
You were
but
a good basketball player, though.
I love
Yeah.
basketball, but I mean, the point being,
He can bowl.
is the friends that
Very
I
good
made,
bowler.
and I made a lot of friends skating. I made a lot of friends bowling. But Christian Park for me, I wouldn't have known you guys as well as I do if I hadn't played Little League baseball
But,
and
like,
had some of them memories. You know,
like I said in that episode before about Christian Park, for a 6-team league, there was so much high school talent. What I'm saying, guys that went on to play high school. I mean, there's guys that played varsity baseball that never made an all-star team. I mean, just because it was so. I mean, you only could take 12 guys.
Yeah.
And you got 12 on each team. There's 70 kids. I mean, there was a lot of
and
talent.
a lot of that was because of the competition, right?
Oh yeah, there's just
Somebody had to, people always wanted to be a little better and work hard to be better, and because we did, Christian Park was competitive. Like I said, we talked about this out there. One of the things I always remember about going to concession stand was seeing what spot my team was in.
I know.
And it was
I'd
amazing,
forgotten all about that. You guys talking
know?
about that being in a concession stand, but that's true.
Who kept up with that?
whoever was.
Was Gannon behind that?
Well, whoever was had a concession stand, and they'd come in. If I remember, my mom was I remember when my mom was like the head of the concession stand and all that, women's auxiliary, whatever. The coach would have to come in and say who won, and they would do the change. Who won or lost. So I think, I don't know when my mom was there, I think she did it or somebody would do it, but they'd have to write in the scores and all that right there, like official book. They keep track for the, so if a coach came back.
Oh yeah, I'd go up there to look to make sure it was right.
So like
Oh,
if the Braves and Indians come back, and let's say the Giants played at 9, we played at 1, your dad left, so he'd come back Monday just to see the score and who won.
I remember going up to the concession stand and I'd order me a cherry berry. Kevin Long called me Cherry Bear for 2 seasons.
Chair bear.
You remember that?
Chair bear. Now I do. Just because I remember him saying chair bear. That's
Chair
what it
bear?
is. Chair bear.
But you know how they talk about, everybody gets participation trophies, or it's okay, you tried your best. Man, if you lost, you got a small Coke. If you won, you got a big Coke and maybe a hot dog.
It mattered.
But it mattered. Either a small Coke or nothing.
And
Well,
only,
maybe Dairy Queen.
only first place was getting a trophy too.
Yeah.
Or going to Dairy Queen.
I think I remember they gave out ribbons one year. You know, like
who
one
kept
year.
a ribbon?
I know, but they gave out a ribbon. Like I think I was on my first year on the Indians. We got last.
What'd you
place.
do with it?
I don't
We
even
played,
know.
put it on
still
the
has
dartboard.
With all your stats. I don't know. Casey
No, I
said.
still have the hat. With
Check
my
your
stats.
hat.
No, but I just remember, man. You won, you got a large Coke. You
Or
got-
lost, you got a
and
small.
hot
I
dog.
forgot about that.
You got a small.
Yes.
If the coach was feeling, not
Looking back though, you very rarely, you say, "What about this game? What happened in this game?" You really don't remember
No, I
play by
don't.
play, but you do remember like David Jackson and me and you and Kevin Long.
Oh, yeah.
When we went over to Jackson's house and had that whole day and was getting up at age, well, okay, we'll let the boys hang out and won't put a lot of supervision on them. We got pretty ornery.
I remember.
Now, did Mark Jackson, did they have a pool at their house too?
David Jackson.
David Jackson.
David Jackson, I'm sorry.
I don't remember.
He had a brother named Mark.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
he did.
right. But
I don't remember if he had a pool or not.
for some reason, I'm thinking he did. I know I went over to his house at least
I think
once.
he might have.
'Cause
I
the
know
only two
Hubbard
people
did.
I was going to say, the only two people I remember having
Casey
a
remembers
pool.
that pool, don't you, Casey?
What, your pool?
Yeah.
I was thinking about that on the way over here. He had the metal or aluminum
Ladder.
ladder, and my leg went through the rungs, and I had a hell of a cut on my knee. I think it was Rodney Powers and Mark and I. Were
I just
there.
love that name, Rodney Powers.
Sounds like a movie star.
It
Old-time
is,
movie
man.
star.
It's
I
like
re-
the best.
I re-
Didn't Rodney have a gold tooth?
Yes.
He think he did. It was gold or silver.
And he was I remember he played CYO ball with us basketball in 5th or 6th grade, and I remember we were losing by like 3, and he was a big ABA fan back then. His dad used to take him to the games, Pacer games, because of Boy Scout stuff. There's 2-3 seconds left in the game. We're in the huddle. It's our ball. He tells Johnny, John, give me the ball, shoot a 3, get fouled, and hit the 4th for we'll win the game. This kid's
hit the
5th
fourth to
grade.
tie it up.
Hit
We're
the
down
4th,
4.
whatever, and here he is. He's in 5th grade or 6th grade. And he's telling the coach that, I'll hit the 3, get fouled, and hit the foul shot.
The ABA was the
we don't have
best,
3
man.
points.
Rodney Powers.
I remember
that's exactly.
I remember
right, those 3 corners.
that our 5th grade year, Gannon asked us to play on that CYO team, and I remember playing. Like Christian Park, you had the old wooden backboard, and everybody else had the old moon backboards. I remember playing a game at Cathedral High School downtown, and they had glass backboards. I remember as a 9-year-old, 10-year-old, I made it.
It was just awesome to
glass-
walk in and be
glass-
like, we're playing on glass
glass
backboard.
backboard.
You know what I mean? It was
thought I
like a
was
special
NBA,
day.
the greatest thing in
Yes.
the world, man.
And you know what? As a kid, I never even knew why they were glass. You know what I mean? So the fans could see through to see the game, right?
We
But
never
as a
had
kid,
that.
I'm just like, wow, man, we're playing on glass backboard.
Yeah,
We've moved it up a level.
Or just like playing under the lights for baseball. That was
exactly.
back then.
That
It
was
was
a
like,
big
oh
thing.
my
That was a big deal.
Yes.
man.
That was a real big deal.
So you made it. You
Especially
felt
when
like
the
you
ball went over the lights.
Made me think when you said started talking about those backboards. I remember you guys probably did it too, but I remember the first time I seen McCarty go flying, hit that mat, come off flying off that mat, then dunk it. You remember that?
I tell you what, he was something. I know you guys are always talking about the best athletes. I mean, there was, quite a few, and everybody's got their own stories. But Mike and I got to play together a lot, and he was older than me, so it was like that was somebody I just looked up to, and he was just amazing. And a lot of you guys probably didn't get to see him play football, but we played football together, and he could have done anything professionally. He could have been a professional football
Is that when
player.
he was on the Minutemen?
Yeah.
Out on Marshall.
And back then, that was like
They
the
were the
elite
top
of the
team.
league.
Those
They're
were
the
the
top
guys.
team in the state.
Yeah, all those, you know what, though, that program then turned into the Warren Central football program. And he was out there, he was just the star. And I got to hang out with him one summer going to basketball courts and playing 2-on-2. And basically all I did was rebound and throw in the ball and watch him score. But he was just, we'd go over with Brookside, we'd go to, Zunieville or something. And, we were the only 2 white guys in the place, but nobody had messed with Mike. And he'd just go over there and he'd run it all day. Nobody could stop him. And then,
Well, you remember back when we played, and you get in a situation like that. You stayed on the court till you got beat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but in fair, something about Mark, he's acting like he just rebounded and passed the ball. I think you averaged 20-some points a game on that freshman team, didn't you?
yeah, I had a good freshman.
Yeah, he had a pretty good freshman
But those
year.
guys end up,
But yeah,
they
yeah.
were pretty good.
Yeah, that freshman
Those guys.
freshman class went on to be number 1 in the state junior
Yeah.
and senior year. But still, you know, you were averaging 20
Was
points.
that Greg Cheatham and all those
Yeah,
guys?
I think Cheatham was up on JV as a freshman or varsity,
Yeah.
but Mark, with all the other guys who played varsity on that,
I think
was the leading scorer in that
I
team.
was the token, I think.
Yeah, averaging 20-some a game as a token. Yeah.
He was the guard? Was he the guard?
Mark. Oh, Mark.
Okay, well then he got the ball all the time, man. Shot clock's running down.
You know,
There wasn't a shot clock, was there?
Them Christian
that was
Park,
really good then.
Them
averaging
Christian
that
Park
much.
travel football teams, we were pretty solid.
Yeah.
We had some
You
good
knew
teams.
who else down at Christian Park Little League was actually, I felt, a really, really good basketball player, was Greg Abella. That dude could shoot, man.
Well, did you see in his backyard, his dad had because he was so short, his goal was like 11 or 12 feet
Yeah,
tall.
so his dad learned how to shoot arc
high,
shots, to shoot over people.
Ah,
Yeah, shoot
okay.
really
I
high.
didn't know that.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's good training. I like it.
Paco,
Greg.
But yeah, we had them Christian Park
Great tennis
football
player,
team. What was
too.
that eighth
Oh, yeah.
grade team called? The Lancers.
Lancers.
Yeah, what runner up in the city? We got runner up in the city 2 years in a row, didn't we?
We got beat by didn't we get beat by the Minutemen or something?
Oh, I know it was. I can't remember the team. I just remember we beat them in the regular season, and then next thing you know, they had a whole different teams. Like they wanted to beat us that bad. All of a sudden, they had all these guys they didn't have before.
Yeah,
You're
they
like,
loaded up from around
loaded
the
up. They
state.
just went around and got
And
guys
all
on
our
their team.
guys were like within 3
Christian
blocks
Park
of
guys.
each other.
They were- I think we had like Greg Coward was he went to Tech, but he was at Tech. Paul Clark, what 3-year
Yeah.
varsity player in house. This is our line. Was it Nottingham?
Well, those and
Floyd
Keith
J-
Ransom.
Ransom, we had all them guys. You were a running back. I forget who was. You and Kevin Long were running backs. Weren't you?
Well, half of that team ended up being our
Howl
Howl
team.
team,
Yeah,
our
Howl team.
senior year, and we played against Marshall for the city championship. And Howl really wasn't known that much for football back then, but our senior year, that team was just. But half of that was that Christian Park team. We'd been playing together since we were in 7th grade, and we were loaded.
You remember our 7th grade year, the Christian Park coach? That's when Bernadette didn't have a team. It was the year after they stopped having a football team. So Mike Malott was playing for us. Every game he would, like in the third quarter, we'd be winning. We played out at Riverside every game. Mike Malott would get in a fight and get kicked out of every game. Remember that?
I remember that, yeah.
Every game he got kicked out for a fight.
Man, I tell you what, my
That's one
it
tough
started
guy.
my 9-year-old year, and you guys all know I played on the Giants. But let me give you some of these names
You know what?
on the Giants.
The Giants, one of the names I always loved was Akita Keith.
The key to key.
But
And he was a
listen-
great center fielder.
But
You know,
all
that kid
these
could cover
guys
the area.
on this team, they were fighters. Derek Tamber, Jasper,
Greg Rader,
Greg Rader, Larry Struthers, Mike McCarty.
Mike Malott.
They're
all fighters.
I found out real quick. These guys mean. They can fight.
Your dad would. I love your dad so much. I mean, I got to see him a ton even after I was, out of high school and everything. He would every time I'd see him after I think it was my 12-year-old year, and we played community in the All-Star game, and he pitched Greg Coward.
Rocked us.
And for whatever reason, and I wasn't that great of a pitcher, but from CYO ball, all those guys were from Little Flower.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I owned them in CYO ball. And Gannon was telling him, pitch Mark, he shuts these guys out all the time. And your dad went with Coward. Well, I would have went with Coward too, because he was he was a lot better than I was. And he didn't
Hindsight
have it
being
that night.
2020,
Yeah,
should have went with
but
you, and then we could have had Coward the
Your
next.
dad would come and apologize to me every time he'd see me. I'd be 30 years old, and your dad, Mark, I'm so sorry. I should have pitched you that night. And I said, well, I tell him that. I go, well, I would have pitched Greg too. I said he was a lot better than me, but he would apologize every time he saw me.
Your mom and my dad later in life become very, good friends.
Yeah, yes.
Very good friends.
They'd meet up at Waffle House for dinner.
Yep,
something
they
all the
would.
time there down
Yep.
Sherman Drive.
Yeah.
I got to see your dad a lot.
He married you, didn't
he? No, he was my mom's date for the
Oh,
wedding.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
I thought he married you.
Yeah, so he's in the wedding pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mark, he thought a lot of all you guys, but you and McCarty, he loved Kasey Branham too, though. But I mean, he loved all the kids.
That's it
And
right
I'm just
there.
wallpaper here.
but
Yeah.
Hubbard,
Me?
I'm getting
I
held,
stayed all night down there
I'm
more
getting-
than anybody
I'm getting
here.
held,
I
I'm
guarantee
getting, I'm
you
getting
that.
held back by Mr.
What?
Haney now.
Right. I am too. Now, hey, Slab. Now I feel your pain.
You
Hey.
feel my pain. Give the ball to Hubbard. That's
Doug,
all that's Mr. Haney. Give
What
the
was
ball to
his
him.
What was his nickname for you? Wow, he would say something like Doug or something like. What was it?
Playa.
he had a nickname for you too.
He might. I'm sure he did, but I don't know. I can't come up with it. But
Yeah, Doug was down the house all the time.
all the time. I knew there was something going on down there. It was like, whether it was football season, football indoors. Hell, we played football indoors. Marky had to try to bust through me and Bobby to get a touchdown. Mark was only like 6. But,
Dad
yeah.
used to get me so mad because he'd line Mark way across the room, and then all of a sudden, you just at any time you could go at any time, and then you had to try to slide into second head first or slide. Well, I'd go and he'd throw it right to Mark, put tag on me. Me, man, he'd throw it way over there, and I'd have to grab it.
Yeah.
I'd get so mad at Dad, not realizing what he was doing. You
Right.
know, he was challenging me.
Yeah.
You know, getting me better.
Making you better.
Oh, yeah, and then if I got a little rough on Mark, it was over. I was
Yeah.
in trouble.
I wasn't there on this, but a story I always think I love hearing and talking about, and especially when your brother's there. Remember how we used to go downtown? When downtown in high school and there was nothing downtown, we'd play chase.
Oh, yeah.
These are the boundaries, and we played tag downtown in Annapolis. In high school. And,
High Regency?
Oh, well, yeah, that was a different story too. This down around the old circle was the train station, but you'd be, prostitutes and
Right.
bums everywhere. We'd be a bunch of high school kids. Well, we all had curfews. We all had to be home at 12:30 back in. Like shit, it's 12:15. If you wasn't at that spot, we left you. And your brother Mark, he had to be like in 7th, 8th grade. Him and Gillespie and Alan Nelson got left downtown, and I guess they were running home. I just love this story because your dad. Well, Alan always had could have a little smart mouth at times.
Alan Nelson?
Yes, and they're jogging. They're over there right there at Washington and Southeastern, right there by that Hardee's and all that. And these guys go, "What are you guys running from?" Alan Nelson goes, "Mama something." They just take off running. Well, they split up, and your little brother Marky gets so scared he just runs up to some random house and starts banging on the door trying to get in. Some old lady scaring some old lady out. So they call your dad to come get him. So I guess your dad drove around like an hour looking for Rob Gillespie and Alan. They find Alan like zigzagging through some street, like hiding behind bushes and everything. Never got mad. I guess Alan said, man, he didn't say anything bad about it. He said, get in, Alan. Just want to help these guys out. Call him, get my kids out of a bad situation at 1:30 in the morning. And Rob Gillespie, remember he ran into that barbed wire fence? And he had like barbed wire fence, like marks on his neck. But
Tell them that story.
Well, I'll be seeing Rob here in a couple of weeks.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. He's going to be down there to take golf outing with me and Dean,
Gillespie?
Curtis Dodd,
where's this at now?
Atlanta, where it's actually called Stone Mountain.
Oh, you're playing the Masters this year, right?
Well, we're playing the week. It's the week after. And by the way, my name's Bobby Jones, and he was the inventor of the Masters. Yes.
So,
But yeah, so we'll be down there.
was you Ransom and all them going to be there?
Jason Kimmel's the one that hooked me up. Dean.
And they got Rob Gillespie to show up.
And Rob Gillespie, because Curtis Dodd
Still
got
talks
a hold
to
of
him,
Rob. Yeah, and they're big buddies, and he's going to be there next week. So I'm going to remind him about this story about your mama and
him
running. And is that when he
Yeah,
hooked his
he was
up?
up by the railroad tracks.
Okay.
Tell them that story about going to Danny's house on the railroad tracks with Ransom's car. You tell that story the best.
Keith Ransom had this like 63 Falcon,
Push button dash.
button gears, pushing park, drive, and everything. Sunday night after big league baseball, I think we were still in our uniforms. It was like Keith, everybody knows Keith, played college football, big guy, and me and Mark were in the front seat. And the back seat was Rob Gillespie, I think Jimmy Stevenson,
Yeah,
and was it Scotty Bell?
it may have been. Yeah.
And we're just driving around, bored on a Sunday night. Wasn't doing anything illegal for one time in our lives.
No beer in the car.
No
the first
beer,
time.
nothing.
Mark, how do you say that?
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
I think we had a Playboy.
Well,
in there.
we knew Danny Teddy Adair lived right there at the end of Worcester, right next to the railroad yard. And he won't probably admit it, but when his mom and dad would go and like away for the weekend,
Well, he's going to have to admit it now.
he was scared to death. He didn't like being staying home by himself. He was scared because these hobos and stuff would actually end up in there, walk through the yards and come to their house. So I said, well, Danny's home by himself. Let's go bang on his windows and scare him, do all this stuff, just mess with him. So we go down there by the Choo-Choo Inn, right? And you go back to, where you probably walked across them train tracks. They always had that black gravel.
Yep.
So we're driving, and the weeds are higher in the car, and I'm telling me and Mark, because we lived right there. None of these, other than Keith, none of these other guys, they lived over by, they were Irving boys, and I go, yeah, there's kids that have been killed back here and stuff like. We're making all these stories, and they're getting kind of nervous. And me and Mark's just making up all this stuff out. You know, we're 5 minutes from our house, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this flashlight pops up. It scares the crap out of all of us. We all scream, "We go ahead it, Keith." So Keith just guns it, and he's flying, you know, and all the dirt's everywhere. And all of a sudden, they have it barricaded. Keith slams on his brakes, and the car goes sideways, and it dies. And we're all screaming, "Come on, Keith, start the car, start the car." And he's sitting there, It wouldn't turn over, and finally Keith goes, "Oh, it won't start because it's still in drive." And everybody just starts punching Keith in the back of the head, calling him a dumbass. Because we're like, what the hell's going on? We scared ourselves, you know? Right. So Keith gets it started, starts backing up, and he barely just taps his police dog. You know, cops, get the hell, you know, guns all pointed on us. We're all like, oh crap.
Right.
Pulling it all out one at a time, and that's all spread out.
What's your dad do?
And well, they go ask Rob Gillespie for his ID. Rob Gillespie goes, "I don't have one, sir." And the cop goes, "We got one for juvenile." And all of a sudden, here's Rob Gillespie. Oh, he puts his hand down. He just puts his hand down. And I'm sitting there going, and I mean, I just got picked up a few months earlier allegedly having an illegal substance. Allegedly having illegal alcohol.
Somebody spiked his drink.
Yeah, I thought it was Kool-Aid. I didn't know it was a Hairy Buffalo. Okay. Well, anyway, I just said I'm done. I said we're all going to juvenile. My dad's just going to leave me there. I'm done. And I think they've started realizing these are just good kids. Like we're in baseball uniforms, you know, and everything. So they've said, "Okay, guys, you just need to get home." They took all our names and says, "We're going to call your parents tomorrow and let them know what you're out doing." "Okay, thank you, sir, thank you." So they let us all go, and we take them home. I wake up the next morning, I call Hubbard, I go, "Hey, I'm going to call everybody and say the police just called me. Stay by the phone. Don't leave the house so your parents can't get the phone." So Mark, I said, if anybody calls you, you call them and tell them the same thing. So I think, was Alan Nelson with us too? It was like Alan too.
Alan was.
So we called everybody else up and said, "Hey, stay by the phone. Police just called. If you answer, just tell them your mom and dad ain't there." No, okay. So them guys, a whole summer day, never left the house. They were waiting by the phone for a call that never came.
Nice
Never
work.
come. Yeah, me and Mark out running around having a bed.
Nice, I like it. Nice work.
And Mark, didn't your dad work for the railroad?
Yeah, Dad worked for the railroad. My dad's the police.
Well, I think Scott and I used those stories to the police to let them know, hey,
We've been there.
get out of it. Yeah.
We can be here.
Yeah. But yeah, I remember Gillespie till that. Every time we saw Rob, we'd tell him, "Ooh."
Oh, he just like this little whimper, and his head just went straight to the door.
I'm definitely going to remind him of that one.
What was this nickname? Dewey.
Dewey.
So you remember they had Dewey Avenue over there in Irvington.
Okay.
So Rob goes, "I'd really like to get that street sign." So I said, "Okay."
I remember this.
"Oh, well, I got your little brother Marky." You seem like Marky was involved in a lot of stuff. He's like in 8th grade. We got him dragged because we know he's not the kind of kid, you know, he's little, we can fit him in, you know, they won't do nothing to him. Well, I got him on my shoulders. I think Rob's in my dad's pickup truck again. He's going to be the driver. And they're cranking, you know, Mark's up there with a ratchet set, taking that damn sign off. You ever have one of them street signs? They're heavy.
Yeah.
Well, Mark goes, "I think it's coming." And it just all of a sudden just falls and hits me in the head. I mean, it knocks me. I mean, I go to the ground just laying. I don't even know where I'm at.
So now we know.
So your brother Marky picks a sign up, and I forget, Rob might have been there. They run and throw it back in my car, and they just leave me laying there in the street. I'm knocked out. And they're like, "Come on."
In the Maverick?
No, in my dad's pickup truck.
Oh, okay.
Maverick.
And I think
I love the Maverick,
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, you guys had what was it? You guys,
his nickname Dewey.
Mark came down. We got in a little argument one night. He was down there hanging out with you guys down at Weaver's, and he goes, "Bobby, you know what your problem is? You're just mad because you ain't in the clique." I said, "I'm not in the what?"
The clique. That's the clique.
I said, "The what?" He goes, "The clique. We're the clique."
Yeah, I forgot.
I said, "That's okay. I don't have to be in a clique."
Yeah.
You remember when
You were into other things at that time.
That's true. Remember that when
Jordache.
they were doing that? Remember when they broke? Did they steal your Maverick or did they break into your car?
Oh, no, they stole my Maverick from Hal. They from the parking lot. And they had the news media there. It was my senior year.
For an unrelated
For
story.
an unrelated story, because Shortridge closed down, and they got influx of students, and it was a little bit overcrowded, and they was having a lot of issues. So they were sitting there interviewing the principal, and I come running right behind the camera, yelling, "They just stole my car!" And I just run.
You guys
Live news feed.
You guys remember that time we was playing a big league game at Howe, I think it was. I had a green
Breaking
Valari.
news.
So foul ball goes off, busts my windshield. I go get my car, turn it around the other way. I come walking back, and it was one of you guys looking at me because that was really smart, Andy.
Do you remember
Yeah.
when Gannon locked his keys in the car, that CYO baseball game? And remember, somebody trying to get a coat hanger. He can't get his door unlocked. And Schuster goes, "I can get it unlocked." And he goes, "Yeah, go good." He grabs a bat and busts his
Which one, Tim?
I don't remember which one.
Yeah, man.
He broke his window. Goes, here's your keys.
We told that story last time. That one car come from Burnett's practice and was jumping out as it's moving, like paratroopers.
rolling
oh
out.
my
Yeah.
God.
Remember at the top of the hill at St. Bernadette for Gannon's car? We'd always, for basketball practice, he'd park his car out there on the top of the hill, and we'd go out and get a drink. And a couple of us would go out. We'd put the thing in neutral and push it all the way down the hill.
Well, he's in there with the other team practicing too. Me and Mark be down there pushing this car.
So he comes out and his car's gone. He thinks his car's stolen. It was all the way down there by Melissa Cash's house.
You remember? I don't know if he was on. I don't know if it was my 7th grade year or 8th grade year when he was on that. And he got in a fight with the janitor.
Yeah, Dennis Hill.
Yeah, if you bring that table in
Yeah,
one more time
we're practicing, and they're bringing in the janitor's bringing these tables in.
to go into the church.
Yeah, for storage or something. And Gannon goes, "I'm having practice. Don't bring them back in there." So guy just walks out. Gannon throws the table back out. And he brings it like 3rd time. He said, "If you bring that table back in one more time, I'm kicking your ass." Well, the dude comes walking back on the
They
table.
got into it.
They get in a fight?
Oh, there is like yelling. We're in 7th grade, 8th grade in a Catholic church.
What,
and
you
we're-
guys yelling?
We're all yelling, "Kick his ass!" We're watching our coach beat this janitor.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh man, who was the guy who would climb up on the building?
Denny
Denny
May.
May. Anytime we had a foul ball, went up on top of the priest house, or where
He
the
would just
nuns
scale the
lived.
wall.
Yeah, we'd say we need our baseball. He'd scale the wall and get up there and get all our baseballs off the
Yeah, it's
top
like
of that place.
Spider-Man.
But yeah, that burned that boy field. You know, everybody has their own fields, but bringing up Rodney Powers, I don't know if you was there or not. We were playing a street football game. There probably was, 11 on 11.
I played a few games.
11 on 11 with subs. I mean, he had all age groups. And I remember Rodney Powers goes down, breaks his ankle,
I was there for that game.
and he had high tops on. And Bob McCarty comes over there, stand up on. He stands up, he falls down. Let me get your shoe off. He unlace it, try to get that. You know how high tops you have to wiggle. And he screamed. I think he had like 3 surgeries on that ankle. But probably because of Bob McCarty trying to get that
Somebody
shoe
was
off.
holding his ankle and he was trying to get away.
Yeah, and he twisted it.
when they twisted, they broke it.
And Bob McCarty goes, "Take your shoe, just walk on it."
And it might have well been Boyd Minton that tackled him.
Remember when we ran over Gannon's foot? A lot.
Oh, that was a great night.
We're in Malott station wagon, and Gannon lived over there by Pasquale's off Washington Street. And there's probably about 8 of us in the wagon. We're all going to go over to the Gannon's place over there, big, huge house. And everybody's out in the front yard running around.
But remember, Gannon coached he had the whole Orioles over there, and Gannon's girlfriend coached that female team.
Yeah, that's one of the
girl
softballs.
team. So they're having a sleepover at Gannon's house, a bunch of 12-year-old boys and a bunch of 12-year-old girls. How's that going to go?
Right.
I think we'll get ready to find out.
Sounded
like
you know how the East Side Street. Some of them East Side streets, people park on both sides. There's only one car can get through.
Was Ray Miller there when he was 16?
So Gannon's standing out there on the sidewalk.
And flip flops. Yeah.
And I don't know what Mark was doing, but he pulled up. We were going to scare him or something. Pulled up over the curb, probably still going 4 or 5 miles an hour, and slammed it and put the brakes on. Slammed it, and Gannon hits the hood of the car, like, "Oh, you're on my foot, you're on your foot." And we're like laughing. No, we're not on his foot.
We're all piling out of the car.
We're getting out of the car. And, he turns the car off. Malott gets out of the car and goes, "Oh, we are on his foot."
So
Go ahead.
So Gannon, if he backs him up, he falls to the ground. His foot swells up like a basketball. So Malott carries him into the house, and Joanne's like, "It's broken. It's broken." And everybody's all standing around him. I go, "Joanne, you sure it's broken?" She goes, "Yeah, it's broken." I said, "Are you sure it's broken?" She goes, Slab, it's broken. That's the last I remember. They said I just started punching Gannon.
He couldn't get up. He couldn't get up.
I just started hitting him in his arms and everything, just punching him in his leg.
He couldn't get up and chase
And
him.
Hubbard and Milano trying to drag me off of him, and I'm breaking loose. And so I think, okay, I'm a legend now, right? I just got Gannon.
You know,
he's going to be on crutches for like a month or two. He ain't going to be able to catch me. I come walking down, riding my bike up on that Monday at Christian Park, get off, and there's always say hi to Mr. and Mrs. Nelson. And they go, oh, Slab. They just shook their head. I'm like, what? I come walking down the hill, roll my bike, and like the whole park just stops, and they're all staring at me. And all of a sudden, I look up, and his eyes are bugged out, and Gannon goes, "You're mine, motherfucker." They say they heard a 12-year-old girl scream. I don't know about that. All I know is I took off running. He tracked me down. I didn't walk for 3 days. He hit me so many times in my leg, like like punching in the leg. Charlie Horse.
Yeah.
Oh man, but I did.
You know, a couple things that are still at Christian Park all through the years that's still there. Well, two things that hit me. Mike Spears, I think, still owns the Dairy Queen. I think he took it over in like 72 or 73 maybe.
He was the bag boy for years at Hunter's Market,
that
saving up his money to buy Dairy Queen.
Hunter's Market.
Good
where was
for
that?
him.
Where's Hunter's Market at? I remember
It was
that.
right across from Dairy Queen and Bar 52 in that little strip center.
Yeah, that's right. That's
And
Next to
then
Ross Pharmacy.
all
Chicken
through,
in.
Yes.
all through the years,
Best chicken ever.
you know,
Best.
when we were kids, even up to here recently, Leo Lark was a staple. I remember one year, like 2008, he got my attention. He said, "Hey, we got to talk." I said, "Okay, what's going on?" So he marches me to the backstop of the Major Diamond, and he goes, "It's gone. Fix it." They named the field after him.
Oh, okay.
And something happened to the sign.
Yeah, old Leo. Everybody knew Leo.
Oh, yeah, ride his bike,
Oh,
there,
yeah.
ride his bike down there every day.
Bernadette, everything. Remember, he would work at Bernadette, and he would do things around there. Just
He was janitor
Yeah.
and did stuff.
And I remember he was up on a ladder, and he fell off and broke his back.
See, I didn't realize that. He had all kinds of
I
hustles
mean, we were
going on,
all
didn't
right
he?
there. We had to
Yeah,
run and go get help. and
Hustle going
everything.
on with Spears at Dairy Queen. Then he would do the hustle with us at Christian Park. You know, go around, pick the trash up, and we'd give him money.
Choo Choo Inn.
I didn't know that.
He used to clean up and hang out at Choo Choo Inn and ride his bike there, and then that's where I think his bike got stolen from.
Is that the three-wheeler?
Yeah,
Yes,
three-wheeler.
and then they ended up raising money.
I
And
think
it was
I-
even on the news.
I
Few
think-
times.
I think
Few times.
I think IMPD actually raised the money up for him.
Could have been.
Officers in that area.
But I know one year there when it happened, Dave Sneed over at the park did, the Little League did. Dave had a
He
special
lived over
event
there
for
in
him.
Farrington, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, back there by the McGinleys and all that.
I mean,
Right across from Tom Wellington.
especially opening
Yeah.
day was not opening day without Leo.
Yeah, Leo was.
That's back when we used to be able to ride around the back of pickup trucks
For the parade.
for the parade. Man, I loved that stuff.
I
That
did
was-
too.
That was some of the best. Drive all around the neighborhood, man. Let them know baseball season was here. Yeah, it was
See,
good stuff.
and we
That is
talked,
a big
you know,
stuff.
what that episode about all the parents and stuff like that, and it just hit me. You mentioned a parade. You would not believe all the loopholes you have to jump through to do something like that for those kids. And
What,
you know, as
today?
kids, we never,
Well,
even back
today-
then, back then, they had to file that stuff up.
We had to block
parks.
traffic, get a car, the
They,
police
they had to
escort you and all
file
that.
paperwork with the park.
Okay.
You,
I was
you
gonna
wouldn't
say
think they had to
back
do all
then,
that.
it
I never would have crossed my mind.
Yeah.
But you're like,
I think
wow.
now everything's so, yeah, it's too politicized or whatever. Somebody needs to make a dime off of it, whatever.
Yep.
I regress. I don't want to get
Or all the
I sure don't-
liability.
We're going to need 4 hours if we start getting into that stuff. So,
No
True.
political views on this show.
yeah.
True.
So Kasey, I'm gonna ask you a question. If I were to hang out with you, I know you, but what would be a good time? What's Kasey? What's a good time for Kasey? Hanging out. I know going to Vegas. The pizza guy.
Probably just going out for a good meal.
Okay.
Having a good meal, enjoying. It can be a bar and grill or a
So give me
fancy
a good,
restaurant.
what's your go-to spot then?
Just the dating game.
I like the long walks on the beaches.
That way, it's getting to know Kasey on another
Well,
level.
and to see a nice, not nice, but maybe a good rock show or something like that. Go to
Oh,
Whiskey
I like
Business
that.
or
I
that
like
place
that.
or
I
something.
love live
And you guys know I kind of moonlight,
Yeah.
managing the Tony Burton band. You know what
I didn't
there is
know
of it.
that.
Yes,
I knew
yes.
you followed him, you and Brian Taylor, but I
Yes,
didn't
and
know.
we've got some things
My
brewing with
best
them
story I know
later in the
earlier.
year. So
Okay, cool.
And if you went to our, well, some of you went to our 40th reunion,
Right.
For how your class and our class
Yes.
combined it because
Yes.
of the COVID, stopped yours. So we ended up getting Tony Burton and his all-star friends to play. Well, my God, his all-star friends are responsible for 12 gold records, 5 platinum albums, like 15 MTV videos, every Bob and Tom album because it was Dane Clark from the John Mellencamp Band. It was Sandy Williams from Henry Lee Summer. It was John Mellencamp's original guitar player, Larry Crane, who wrote all that. All his music was Little Pink Houses, Jack and Diane. That was all Larry Crane. And those were the guys.
Now
that
I'm
played.
even more happy I asked that question because I was there
Yeah, yes.
and didn't know that he was playing with such an all-star
Yeah,
cast.
and then Tony's like the premier guitar player around and guitar player. I
Yeah.
mean, he's played with
Okay.
Roadmaster, Larry Crane.
Roadmaster.
Yes.
Wow. Where are they?
When Rick Bennett.
God, I loved them back
But were
in
they the
day.
Schlep Rocks?
Yeah, they were
Slab Rock was right back when Rick Bennick left Roadmaster for a short time to play with who did he play with? Oh, Mitch Ryder and the Detroit Wheels. Tony stepped in and played for a year or so, and then
Right.
when Rick came back, Rick's like, let's keep him.
Tony-
So Tony ended up being in from the late '80s on till
Okay.
Tony plays with a little bit with one of my tech buddies every once in a while, don't he?
Who's Scotty Stackhouse?
Yeah.
Scott Stackhouse is playing with a country band now called Isaac Rutt and the Revolvers, and I mean they're doing Nashville stuff. I mean,
Really?
they're really getting on the map. They're doing a lot of good stuff.
I know these guys need to hire Kasey as their PR man.
You know what?
He just
I do it all. I do it all.
loved it.
We need to take this show to a new level, Casey.
You know why I do it? So I get invited to all these cool things.
Howard Stern who? That's like I said,
Make sure you
Howard
post
Stern
it
who?
because I want to go.
Well, you remember we had that party
We did.
at the 5 Points Gun Club, and Tony played. And I mean,
Yep.
man, we had a blast.
Yes.
That was a great
I
party.
was there.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I do remember that. Over by
Casey, you do a
Mike.
good job on getting all of us together.
Yeah.
You're pretty good about that. I appreciate.
Well, I don't have a life, so I live on social media. So
And your regular job. It seems like it takes you all over the nation.
yeah, that's, when you're in food sales at the level I'm at, we sell to restaurant chains, colleges, universities, hospitals, hotels. So I travel the whole country,
And that's great.
and I've been doing it for 20 some years.
Scott, you're one of Fisher's finest.
Yeah.
Man, your voicemail. You heard his voicemail?
No,
I wish you had it. You used to play it.
Well, you've
he
already
gets
told
on there
us
and he
once
starts letting you
before.
know about. He's in Fisher's one of the. Go ahead. What is it? One of the top 10.
I said, I can't take your phone call right now. I'm out patrolling Fisher's, one of the top 10 safest cities in the nation.
That's something to be proud of. One of the top 10.
It was top 5.
It's Fisher's.
Fisher's. That's what I'm saying. That's
Yeah,
Fisher's.
but
He's
drop
guarding,
it.
he's guarding the IKEA parking lot.
Yeah.
Drop
as
it.
long as there's no runaway bulls on the
Yeah,
streets.
what-
yeah.
what-
I'm,
how
I'm, I'm actually not allowed to speak to the media. Are you considered media? 'Cause I got ordered. I can't speak to the media after
How much longer are you looking at working?
putting in my 3-year drop January.
Good for you.
So you're going to retire in 3 years?
Yeah.
Mark,
3.5.
you're looking to retire in
Less than 2.
Less than 2. You was telling us out there.
And
Mark,
you both are retired.
Mark, you're downtown. Been there.
Downtown, been there 26 years.
I know that was one thing Doug was asking me in here. He goes, I'm sure we're going to talk a lot about the old days, and I'm all for that. He goes, but I want to know what these guys are doing now and where they've been, what they've been doing, and we kind of know you guys. But Mark, you've been there for a while and getting ready to call it quits, huh?
Yeah.
Good for you.
Scott and I have known each other since we were, 5 years old?
You know how we met?
How?
Because my parents had going to call the pound on their dog. They found it in our yard. It was like tearing up the flower bed.
Ginger.
And I think they was able to
Dog tags.
dog tags. So they called, and that's how our family found out. They had kids the same age, and
Who held you back then?
Yeah, Doug, how long you been retired now? Has it been a year yet?
Not a year yet. Be June 1st. I'm enjoying it, but you got a lot of time on your hands. When you work and you don't realize how much time that takes up. You know what I mean? So I've been thinking about that. I got to find something to keep. You got to find a passion. That summertime it isn't too hard because I can play a lot of golf.
Yeah.
I like playing golf.
I don't know. I'm made for retirement. I like to have that problem. Too much time on my hands.
Well, one thing, guys.
It's much better than saying I got to get up tomorrow or Monday morning and go to work. Yes, I'm with you, player.
Well, one thing I want to put on your guys' radar, and we're in the early stages of it, but I'm hoping around usually where they have the Hal block party, and I know that might not happen this year.
Hopefully it should this year.
Well, we're wanting to tie in with the nonprofit I work with. We're wanting to do a golf outing on Friday. Wayne Harmon's already working on that. Do the wiffle ball game again, and then go to the block party that night. Or maybe get with you and see if Tony Burton might be able to help us out and have our own Gannon night or Christian Park night.
Anything's possible.
Everything. So it's on the radar. So anybody sees this, I'm sure you'll start getting hit up about planning, getting us all together. But Mark, you was right earlier when you was talking about our wiffle ball. I went around the horn and asked everybody one word.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It was awesome.
That was one of the best days. That was just, like I said, it's whenever we're all together, it's just, that's the most comfortable part of your life. It really is, because we all just trust each other so much. Even though we get on each other so much, but
Right.
But that's just like your brothers, it's just like family. You can pick on each, but don't let nobody else pick on one of us.
Oh, okay, I gotta say it. Scott, where I'm going with kind of what he said. So, Scott would, this is probably high school, and then even after high school, people would say to Scott, man, why do you hang around that Kasey guy? He's kind of a dick. And Scott goes, yeah, but he's our dick.
That's it. That's it.
That's all right. Yeah, I know.
That's right.
That's well put.
It's like a big brother. I thought my brother was a dick for a
Well,
long
guys,
time.
I don't know how long we've been here, but we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. It's been a pleasure. It's been a lot of fun. But I already knew, me and Doug talked about it, we knew it was going to be a good time.
Yep.
But I appreciate you guys. You guys, every one of you, mean a lot to me. And
So
it ain't over, but it's been a hell of a ride.
It has been. I want to quickly thank these guys for the stories again. Like you say, it's feel good stuff. And Mark, like you said earlier, when we all get together, we feel like brothers and sharing these stories. And I want to thank you guys for being here. I also want to remind people, sign your kids up for baseball. It's time, right? Play
Yes,
baseball.
definitely.
RBI, Little League. I really don't give a rat's ass.
IndyRBI.org if you want to
Go-
go the RBI
yes.
route.
And
And also support Arsenal Technical High School baseball.
Bobby,
Yes.
hey, I don't know nobody said this yet, but what a great job you're doing with baseball. Just
Appreciate that, Mark.
Absolutely.
outstanding.
I appreciate that.
So proud of you. Just
he's found his passion, Mark.
Yeah, it's awesome.
He is Mr. Haney when it comes to that.
2.0.
Yes. When it comes to the passion for the kids, he's Mr. Haney. Other than that,
appreciate
he's
that, guys.
still Bobby.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
And he's not even the best singer in his family.
He gets me all the time on that.
Who's that, Joy?
Joy's the best singer. Yes.
He gets me all the time. He says, Mark can sing better than you too.
Yeah.
He goes, you're okay entertainer. He goes, but your family can sing better.
I told him, I said, Bobby, you're the best entertainer.
Well, thank you guys. And hopefully down the road we'll do some more.
You got it.
You guys have a good day.
Bye, guys.